Because remember, it's in the courts that the entire rights movement has been advanced in the history of this country. It's been the courts. It's not been because public opinion has always been in our direction. Remember, in 1967, when Richard Loving, by the way, this is why the decision ultimately is advanced, Richard Loving married Mildred Jeter. And for the audacity of falling in love and saying, I do, Richard was sentenced to 1 year in prison for saying, I do. And because of what Richard ultimately did and the Loving family, we had Loving versus State of Virginia in that activist court, the unanimous decision of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning those remaining 16th state laws banning interracial marriage. But remember the public opinion polls at the time. Because people say, well, let the people decide. These courts are writing law. You hear it on Hannity, you hear it on O'Reilly Factor, you hear it, your own guy. I didn't know he lived down here, Russ. I don't know how you deal with that. But, you know, hey, I got Michael Savage out in San Francisco. You get Russ Limbaugh. Not sure which is worse. So I think you guys are actually doing better. You're better off than we are with Savage. But I hope you don't listen to it. The courts stood there against public opinion. 70%, 70. I don't make this up. I have 3 polls. I kid you not. 69, 70, and 70%. I have them in my drawer. I wanted to see these. I didn't believe that it could be so true in my lifetime that 70% of the public, American people, this country, 70% American people could oppose interracial marriage. Yet they did. Imagine if the let the people decide argument won out. We wouldn't have interracial marriage. I promise we would not have it today. You still look at public opinion polls. White Americans, it's alarming their opposition to interracial dating still today in 2008, 2009, 2010. These polls are alarming. So the reality is the rights movement has always been advanced by the principles that define the best of this country, and that's the Constitution. And that's why the Iowa Supreme Court did the right thing. And by the way, Republican appointees, California, the Chief Justice of California, 6 out of 7 of our California Supreme Court justices are Republican appointees. The Chief Justice appointed by Ronald Reagan himself adjudicated what all of us knew, and that is there's nothing in the Constitution that allows us to discriminate, not just on the basis of gender or the basis of race, but also on the basis of sexual orientation. That's why George Bush wanted to change the Constitution of the United States. Perversely, he was right, because he saw something wrong with the Constitution. We see something right with the Constitution. That's why we thought he was wrong to change the Constitution. Think about this. The Constitution has been amended since the Bill of Rights about 21 times, each and every time to expand people's rights, not to deny people's rights. In California, we actually took rights away. We didn't just deny something that hadn't been extended. Since May of last year, people were legally getting married, 18,000 couples. And as I was saying a moment ago, it's not just the couples. It's their friends and family. It's their mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, their kids and their grandkids that are also dramatically impacted by these decisions. This is about families. This is a movement that's so much bigger than just the LGBTQ community. It's about all of us. It's about what kind of world we want to live in, what kind of people we really represent. And are we going to walk the proverbial talk? Or are we going to talk about the rights movement and the importance of equality? You cannot run the 90-yard dash on someone's fundamental rights. It's wrong. And with respect, again, particularly to my party, the Democratic Party, we have got to stand up on this principle. We have an obligation, a moral obligation, an ethical obligation, to stand up on this principle. And I know it's not convenient. And I probably know that better than any human being in America, because there was not a Democrat to be seen in San Francisco in 2004 after what we did in February of 2004. They ran. But now they have few places to hide, because they can't get through Ohio anymore. They can't get through Connecticut anymore. They're going to have a hard time even if the governor overturns the Vermont decision. They certainly can't go through Massachusetts anymore. And they're going to have to answer to people all across this country from Florida and California and say, look, enough's enough. If you don't accept that I have a fundamental right to live my life out loud, I can't listen to what you have to say about healthcare, education, the environment, or poverty eradication, because you know what? If you're not going to fight for that basic principle, that foundation that defines the best of everything, then I don't trust that you're going to build on any foundation that's that rocky, anything that's lasting and real. Plus, I don't believe you, because you just told me about the principles of equality, and you just told me about the fact that you support civil rights and you support gender equality, that you claim to support the rights of the LGBT community, but not full rights, not equal rights. That's wrong. And so I just want to encourage you, in part, to just keep standing up, keep fighting. You know, this is not going to be easy, and there'll be setbacks, and there have been, but there's also remarkable progress that's being made. And I'll close with this. Who would have thought 4 years ago that we'd be here today where the moderate position now, even in both parties, is not domestic partnerships. Democrats still were coming to grips with domestic partnerships in 2004. Now the moderate position is civil unions. That's remarkable progress in just 48 months. That George Bush could agree with Dick Cheney, could agree with Barack Obama and Joe Biden and even Sarah Palin, that civil unions are appropriate. That's progress. I can't say it was a proud moment that the only position that Palin and Biden agreed on in their debate was civil unions. That was a pretty low moment for me, that would be the only thing that two of them agreed on, was that the gay community should not be given equal rights, but only some rights. But nonetheless, it shows how far we've come in a short period of time. But we've got to advance, and we've got to fight for equal rights, full rights, and that's why I'm just very thankful and very proud of the work you're doing out here. And as I said, I hope you notice what we're doing, but I just want to leave this with you. We certainly notice what you're doing, and we thank you. Thank you.
We've got Commissioner Susan Mulville.